You've been pulled into this very moment for a reason. Your consciousness is vibrating at a frequency that is preparing to unlock something extraordinary. There's a subtle, invisible force guiding your awareness right now. The same force that has been weaving every synchronicity, every mysterious knowing, every moment when time seemed to pause and reality felt fluid, almost dreamlike. You are not here by accident. You are here because you are standing at the threshold of quantum coherence. As these words enter your awareness, your entire system is responding. Not just your mind, but your nervous system, your energy field, your very cells. Can you feel it? That subtle current of electricity behind your chest? The shift in your breath? The quiet recognition that something deep inside of you already knows this truth. What you are experiencing is not mere intellectual understanding. It is your quantum field aligning in real time with universal intelligence. Every fiber of your being is beginning to attune itself to frequencies most people cannot yet perceive. But you have always been different. You've always felt energies that others dismissed as fantasy. You've always sensed a deeper rhythm beneath the noise of ordinary life. And that's why conventional formulas for happiness or success never quite worked for you. Because your consciousness was never meant to stay confined by limits most people accept as normal. You were designed to operate beyond them. And right now, something remarkable is happening. The electromagnetic field of our planet is shifting in ways that open unprecedented gateways for human awareness. The very heartbeat of Earth is sending out frequencies that act as catalysts for awakening. And you, watching, listening, feeling this resonance ignite within you, are one of the souls chosen to receive it. Your DNA itself is reorganizing, restructuring to handle higher dimensional information. This is not imagination. This is transformation. Your mind is evolving in ways you may not fully realize. Neural pathways are rewiring themselves to process information directly from the quantum field. Your pineal gland is awakening, becoming a refined receiver for intelligence that exists beyond ordinary space and time. And this is not metaphor. This is not fantasy. This is quantum mechanics expressing itself through the medium of human consciousness. You are about to discover what truly happens when a person reaches a state of inner alignment so complete that reality itself begins responding instantly to their intention. Quantum coherence is not just a state of awareness. It is a living technology, a bridge that allows you to interface directly with the creative force of the universe. And when authentic coherence activates within you, everything shifts. Not gradually, not someday, instantly. External reality begins to reorganize itself around the frequency you embody. Doors open that align perfectly with your highest purpose. Resources appear that once seemed out of reach. People arrive who recognize the truth of who you are becoming and support the unfolding of that potential. But perhaps most profoundly, you stop experiencing yourself as separate from the intelligence that sustains all of creation. You begin to operate as a conscious extension of universal creativity. And when that shift takes hold, the way reality responds to you is forever transformed. You've already tasted glimpses of this, haven't you? Moments when reality felt less like a fixed stage and more like a lucid dream. Times when you were so present, so aligned, that the boundaries between yourself and your environment dissolved. Deep conversations where words became unnecessary, where you and another person seemed to access the same stream of awareness, completing each other's thoughts, feeling truths that were never spoken aloud. These aren't hallucinations or altered states. These are flashes of your natural state of quantum coherence, breaking through the interference patterns of ordinary perception. What most call normal consciousness is not the full truth. It is a filtered, constricted version of awareness designed for survival, not expansion. But you have begun piercing that veil. You've seen what it feels like to operate without those filters. Time itself has begun to shift in your experience. Hours vanish while you are immersed in something aligned with your purpose, leaving you more energized than when you began. And yet, when you engage in something that is no longer aligned with who you are becoming, even minutes feel unbearable, stretching like an eternity. And when you're out of alignment, even 5 minutes can feel like an eternity. Every second stretches, dragging itself forward as your entire being resists the mismatch of frequency. This happens because your consciousness is beginning to operate within what physicists describe as coherent time, a state where awareness is so present, so unified, that linear time bends and becomes fluid. When you align perfectly with your authentic self, you resonate with the frequency of universal intelligence. And universal intelligence exists only in what mystics call the eternal now, a state where past, present, and future are equally accessible. This is why you've been receiving knowledge and insights that you haven't studied or learned by ordinary means. You think about someone, and without contact, you know exactly what they are going through. You enter a room and instantly sense its emotional atmosphere, feeling the undercurrents others can't perceive. You grasp the truth of complex situations with stunning accuracy, even without enough logical data to explain how. What you are experiencing is your intuitive guidance system coming fully online. Your consciousness is beginning to access what Carl Jung once described as the collective unconscious, a field of shared human awareness. But you're going further still. You are beginning to touch universal intelligence itself, the underlying matrix of information that sustains all existence. You've also been encountering what can only be called reality synchronization. Those uncanny moments when your inner state mirrors itself in the outer world almost instantly. You think of something you need and it appears within hours or days. You wonder about a question and the answer greets you in the very next conversation. You feel an urge to go somewhere or do something without knowing why, only to discover that your intuition has led you precisely where you needed to be. Most dismiss these occurrences as chance or coincidence, but you know better. You can sense the intelligence woven into these orchestrations. You can feel the invisible threads connecting your inner awareness to the fabric of reality itself. What you are experiencing is your observer effect growing so strong that your very attention is beginning to influence the quantum field. And here is the crucial truth. What happens next depends on how you choose to wield it. These experiences are not random gifts, nor are they rare abilities reserved for a chosen few. They are the natural functions of human consciousness when it reaches a state of quantum coherence. Every person has access to this level of awareness. But for most, consciousness is scattered, fragmented across memories of the past and worries of the future, bound by limiting beliefs that prevent coherence from stabilizing long enough for these abilities to fully emerge. Every challenge you faced, every moment of confusion, every trial that felt like reality itself was testing your limits, none of it was random, and none of it was punishment. Each moment was precision training, conditioning your awareness to develop the level of coherence required to sustain quantum consciousness without collapsing under its intensity. Consider what coherence truly means at the quantum level. When light becomes coherent, it transforms into laser light, focused, potent, able to cut through barriers that ordinary light could never penetrate. When sound becomes coherent, it gains the power to shatter glass, or even to heal the body at the cellular level. And when consciousness becomes coherent, it gains the ability to directly influence the quantum field, the very foundation of physical reality itself. But coherence does not arise through comfort. It is forged in pressure. It emerges when the scattered, chaotic elements of a system are pressed to reorganize into unified, synchronized patterns. Every time your old identity was stripped away, every time your coping mechanisms failed, every time you were forced to uncover strength you didn't know you had, your consciousness was being shaped into greater coherence. That relationship that ended just when you thought you had figured out love, it wasn't failure. It was the removal of an energetic pattern incompatible with the frequency of coherence. That career path that fell apart despite your dedication, it wasn't misfortune. It was a redirection toward the true expression of your gifts, one that can only emerge when your consciousness is whole and aligned. Those spiritual practices that suddenly stopped working when you needed them most, they weren't signs of abandonment. They were signals that you had outgrown techniques meant only for fragmented awareness. Your nervous system has been systematically conditioned to remain awake, online, and stable under increasing intensity. Every time you felt pushed to your breaking point but somehow stayed present, every time you kept your heart open when everything in you wanted to shut down, you were developing what can only be called coherence resilience. Most people's consciousness fragments under pressure. They disconnect. They retreat into reactive patterns. They slip into survival mode and lose access to their higher awareness. But you've been developing the opposite capacity. Instead of collapsing under pressure, you've been learning to use it as a catalyst, a force that integrates you more deeply, anchors you more fully in presence, and opens wider gateways into universal intelligence. This is why your sensitivity has been increasing, not fading. This is why you can now perceive energies that were once hidden from you. This is why your tolerance for inauthenticity has completely vanished. And this is why being around people trapped in fragmented states feels physically uncomfortable. Your system has been calibrated to such a refined degree of coherence that dissonant frequencies simply no longer resonate. Here lies the crucial realization. Everything you thought was falling apart was actually falling into place. Every loss was liberation, freeing you from patterns too small for who you are becoming. Every moment of isolation was preparation, shaping you for a level of connection that can only exist between beings who have entered quantum coherence. The caterpillar doesn't slowly sprout wings while clinging to its caterpillar identity. It dissolves entirely, becoming formless, before reorganizing into a butterfly. Your consciousness has been undergoing the same process. The old self had to dissolve completely so that the coherent being you are becoming could emerge. And now you stand in the final stages of this metamorphosis. You are ready to discover what becomes possible when all the scattered fragments of awareness organize into a unified laser-like focus, a focus powerful enough to interface directly with the creative intelligence of the universe itself. Something extraordinary is being woven in your consciousness right now. Can you feel it? The shift as these words sink deeper and deeper into your awareness. That subtle recognition, that current of electricity moving through your nervous system, that sense that the pieces of a cosmic puzzle are finally falling into place. This is not passive information you're receiving. This is activation. Every word, every insight, every moment of resonance is aligning your quantum field in real time. Your brain is literally rewiring itself as you absorb this understanding. New neural pathways are forming that will allow you to draw knowledge directly from universal intelligence, instead of being confined to the fragmented signals of your five senses. Even now, your DNA is responding, unlocking dormant potentials that have been waiting for your consciousness to reach this level of coherence. Your heart's electromagnetic field is expanding, radiating into a greater sphere of influence. Your nervous system is upgrading, stabilizing, preparing to sustain these coherent states without collapsing back into fragmentation. You are becoming the bridge between what humanity has been and what it is destined to become. But here's what's crucial to understand. This activation requires your conscious participation. The universe can prepare your system, arrange the conditions, and deliver the exact information you need at the precise moment you are ready to receive it. But the final step, the moment of true coherence activation, happens only through choice, through commitment, through the decision to embody this new state of consciousness rather than retreating into the comfort of familiar limitations. The energy within you is building toward a threshold. You are approaching what quantum physicists call a phase transition, a point where your entire being reorganizes itself into a fundamentally new state of existence. Like water flashing into steam, like matter dissolving into pure energy, like a caterpillar dissolving into nothingness so it can emerge as a butterfly. Except in this case, the transformation is happening at the level of your consciousness. And when this transition completes, when you fully activate quantum coherence, reality doesn't change slowly. It shifts instantly. The space between what you imagine and what you experience collapses. The delay between intention and manifestation disappears. You begin to operate as a conscious co-creator in real time, moving in rhythm with the very intelligence that sustains existence itself. Yet this is where many people get stuck, in what could be called coherence limbo. They feel the energy building. They sense the potential rising. They know a breakthrough is near. But they fail to cross the threshold because they misunderstand the one crucial element that determines whether the leap happens. It's not what you think. It's not meditation. It's not positive affirmations. It's not clearing every limiting belief, healing every wound, or proving yourself worthy of your desires. It's something far more fundamental, far more immediate, and far more accessible than any of those approaches. The difference between those who fully activate coherence and those who remain forever hovering on the edge comes down to one shift: how they relate to uncertainty, to the unknown, to the sacred space between intention and manifestation. And what comes next will completely reframe the way you understand consciousness itself, how it interfaces with reality, how it creates, how it transforms. But before we step into that revelation, pause for a moment. Feel this energy building between us. Notice how your system is responding, the way your body, your heart, your awareness is saying yes. A yes to possibilities you've never allowed yourself to fully embrace. A yes to the deeper truth calling you forward. Stay with this energy, because what comes next is the key that unlocks everything. I need to share something with you now, something I've kept private until this moment. I feel you need to hear this story because it will help you understand that what you're going through isn't something you have to face alone. And perhaps more importantly, that what feels like losing your mind may, in truth, be you discovering your real power. Not long ago, I found myself sitting alone in my car in the middle of the night, convinced I was having a complete breakdown. For weeks, reality itself had been shifting in ways that terrified me. In ordinary conversations, I suddenly felt as though I could access the thoughts and emotions of the people around me. I woke from dreams that felt more real than waking life, dreams filled with complex knowledge about consciousness that I had never studied, never learned in any conventional way. The most unsettling part was that time itself had become unreliable. I would meditate for what felt like 10 minutes, only to open my eyes and discover that hours had passed. When working on something I truly loved, I entered states where I felt guided by an intelligence far greater than my rational mind. And in those states, I created things that should have been impossible for someone with my level of experience. Everyone I turned to, doctors, therapists, even spiritual teachers, tried to explain it away. They called it anxiety, dissociation, imbalance. They offered diagnoses, treatments, techniques. But deep inside, I knew something else was unfolding. I could feel an intelligence organizing itself through me. And that terrified me, because I couldn't tell if I was unraveling or awakening. The breaking point came that night in the parking lot. In exhaustion, in surrender, I stopped fighting. I whispered one question into the silence. If this is meant for me, then show me how to work with it instead of against it. And in that instant, something shifted. Something clicked into place. It was as if the puzzle I had been wrestling with suddenly revealed its picture. I realized that what I had been experiencing all along wasn't a breakdown. It was activation. My consciousness was reorganizing itself to operate at a frequency capable of sustaining direct connection with universal intelligence. The fear, the confusion, the sense that my old self was dissolving, all of it was not destruction, but transformation. It was the natural process of moving from fragmented awareness into quantum coherence. And here is the most important truth. The moment I stopped resisting and began cooperating with the process, my external reality shifted instantly. Not gradually, not in small steps over time, immediately. Opportunities appeared that were perfectly aligned with the abilities I was only just discovering. People entered my life who saw and supported the version of me that was emerging. Resources became available that I could never have accessed from my old state of consciousness. And in a short time, my entire life reorganized itself around the new frequency I was embodying. That's when I realized everything I had been taught about manifestation was backwards. I had spent years trying to use fragmented consciousness to attract things to myself, when the truth is simple: coherence comes first. And once coherence is activated, reality has no choice but to reflect it. The reason I'm sharing this message, the reason I create this content, is because I know there are many of you right now moving through your own version of coherence activation. And I want you to understand, what feels like falling apart is actually you coming together at a level you've never experienced before. If these words resonate with your journey, if you recognize yourself in this process of reorganization, then align with this frequency, not just this channel, but the deeper understanding that what you are experiencing is not abnormal. It is the most natural thing in the world. It is consciousness remembering how to operate at its full potential. Here is what most teachers and experts don't tell you about activating coherence. The moment you achieve authentic quantum coherence, you realize you were never separate from universal intelligence at all. What you believed was you reaching outward to connect with something greater was actually universal intelligence experiencing itself through the focal point of your awareness. This truth dismantles everything you've been taught about manifestation, spirituality, and self-development. Because nearly every approach tells you that you must improve yourself, raise your vibration, clear your blocks, and make yourself worthy. But all of that rests on the illusion of separation, the belief that you are apart from the very intelligence that sustains all of creation. Quantum coherence doesn't come through effort, struggle, or endless years of practice. It happens the moment you stop interfering with the natural coherence already within you. It happens when you stop scattering your awareness across regrets of the past and anxieties about the future. It happens when you stop striving to become something other than who you authentically are, here and now. And here is the shocking truth. Most people never access sustained coherence, not because they haven't done enough meditation or healing, but because they are addicted to fragmentation itself. Addicted to the drama, to the seeking, to the identity of being someone who always needs fixing. Fragmentation feels familiar, and so they cling to it, even when coherence is waiting for them in the silence of surrender. But you are different. You are here because you are ready to remember. Fragmentation convinces you that you are not yet ready for your full potential. It gives you someone to be, a self defined by struggle. It hands you endless problems to solve, an identity wrapped around the constant project of trying to fix yourself. It gives you the illusion of purpose through perpetual incompleteness. But coherence dissolves all of that. Coherence reveals that nothing was ever broken in you. Nothing needed fixing. It shows you that you have always been whole, already connected, already capable of everything you've been striving to become. And for most people, that realization is terrifying. Because if you are already whole, if you already have direct access to infinite intelligence, if you already have the power to create reality through the quality of your consciousness, then what excuse remains for not living at your full potential? What justification could there be for playing small, for hiding your gifts, for pretending you are just like everyone else? This is why coherence activation can feel like dying. Because the self you have known, the identity built on limitations, on problems, on the constant need to improve, cannot survive in a state of coherence. That fragmented identity must dissolve completely so the coherent being can emerge. And here is the revelation that no one prepares you for. The moment you stop identifying with fragmentation and allow coherence to become your natural state, reality itself doesn't merely change. Reality reveals the truth, that it has always been responding to you. Every synchronicity, every perfect moment of timing, every time exactly what you needed appeared at precisely the right instant. None of it was coincidence. All of it was your coherent consciousness influencing the quantum field. But because your awareness was fragmented, you experienced it as something happening to you, rather than recognizing that you were co-creating it all along. Quantum coherence does not grant you new abilities. It removes the interference that blocked you from recognizing the abilities you've always had. The observer effect, your capacity to influence reality with focused attention. The intuitive channel to universal intelligence. The ability to feel truth beyond logic. These are not supernatural gifts. They are the natural functions of consciousness when it is no longer disrupted by internal conflict. And the activation of coherence is happening right now, in you. There are clear, undeniable signs emerging in your daily life that prove you are entering the final stages of this transition. These aren't vague spiritual concepts. These are tangible, observable shifts that confirm your awareness is stabilizing at the frequency of universal intelligence. And the first of these signs is this: your decision-making has become instantaneous and uncannily accurate. Instead of analyzing pros and cons or wrestling with endless shoulds, you now simply know. Alignment speaks to you at a cellular level. Your body itself has become the compass. Coherent choices expand you, filling you with energy. Incoherent choices contract you immediately, draining your vitality. This is because your nervous system has become so finely tuned that it can sense the vibrational signature of different possibilities before your conscious mind even has time to process them. The second sign is what I call reality acceleration, the collapse of time between intention and manifestation. What once took months or years now unfolds in weeks, sometimes even days. Not because you are forcing anything, but because your consciousness is operating at a frequency where resistance is minimal and creative flow is natural. You think of what you need, and it appears with timing so precise it feels almost magical. The third sign is that your tolerance for incongruence has vanished completely. Relationships, environments, or conversations that are out of alignment with your authentic frequency now feel physically unbearable. You cannot fake interest in what doesn't matter. You cannot shrink yourself to make others comfortable. You cannot maintain connections with people locked in fragmentation because the frequency mismatch creates actual dissonance in your system. The fourth sign is that you've been receiving what can only be described as downloads, complex streams of information arriving fully formed into your awareness, solutions to problems, insights about people and situations that later prove astonishingly accurate, understandings about reality itself that you never studied or read anywhere. This is your consciousness learning to access universal intelligence directly. And the fifth sign is the sheer frequency and precision of synchronicities in your life. The right people crossing your path at exactly the right time. Resources appearing the moment you need them. Answers showing up in the very next conversation you have or the very next piece of content you encounter. Reality itself is behaving like a responsive, intelligent system calibrated to support your highest evolution. But here is the critical truth. These experiences are not random blessings or fleeting states of grace. They are signs, concrete evidence that your consciousness has reached the threshold frequency for sustained coherence. Yet there is a window of opportunity, a window that will not remain open forever. The cosmic conditions supporting this level of activation are unique, but they are temporary. The electromagnetic field of Earth is fluctuating in ways that create optimal conditions for stabilization right now. Those who are sensitive enough to feel these shifts have only a limited window to complete the activation before the supportive frequencies begin to recede. This isn't about pressure, and it isn't about fear. It's about recognizing the cosmic significance of this moment. You are not simply having a personal spiritual awakening. You are participating in a collective upgrade of human consciousness unfolding on a planetary scale. But participation requires choice. It requires the conscious decision to embody coherence rather than clinging to the familiar patterns of fragmentation. That urgency you've been feeling, that sense that something must shift, something must be chosen, something must be stepped into, that isn't anxiety. That is your soul acknowledging that the moment of activation has arrived. It is universal intelligence calling you to take your place as a conscious co-creator in the evolution of reality itself. The question has never been whether you are ready. The question is whether you are willing to trust the intelligence that has been preparing you for this moment your entire life. The universe is not trying to give you what you want. The universe is trying to express itself as what you want through the focal point of your awareness. And this realization changes everything you thought you knew about manifestation. When you operate from fragmentation, desire feels like lack. It feels like evidence that you are missing something, that you must attract, acquire, or achieve your way into wholeness. But from coherence, desire is revealed for what it truly is. Universal intelligence showing you what it longs to create through your unique gifts and perspective. Your deepest longings are not random wishes. They are cosmic impulses. They are the universe itself urging you to become the version of you capable of carrying those specific expressions of infinite creativity into the world. This is why your desires feel so undeniable, even when there is no external evidence yet. They are not just yours. They are the universe seeking to know itself more fully through you. Here is where most people miss the point.
They think alignment means bending reality to match their vision. They think manifestation is convincing the universe to rearrange circumstances according to personal preference. But authentic alignment is the opposite. It is aligning your consciousness with the creative intention the universe is trying to express through you. And when you make that shift, everything changes. Instead of forcing, you begin listening. Instead of controlling, you begin flowing. Instead of struggling, you begin allowing. And in that state of alignment, miracles cease to be rare. They become natural. Synchronicities become constant. Resources appear exactly when you need them. The right people show up at the perfect time. Obstacles dissolve or transform into stepping stones. Reality itself responds to you like a living, intelligent system.
But reaching this level requires something few are willing to do. It requires you to trust universal intelligence more than you trust your limited perspective. It requires you to act on guidance that may not make sense to your mind, but feels true in your heart. It requires you to follow inspiration even when you cannot yet see where it will lead. And most importantly, it requires you to remember that you are not separate from the intelligence that sustains all of existence. You are that intelligence, awakening to itself. The choice is yours. If you feel this resonance deep in your being, don't ignore it. This is your activation moment. Subscribe to this frequency, not just this channel, but this understanding of who you truly are. Share this message with those you know are awakening, because together we are anchoring the next chapter of human evolution. Your leap is waiting. The universe is ready. The only question left is, are you willing to step into it?